Super Street the game, the opening gameplay. Yes, welcome back to the channel, fellas, welcome back to the channel, fellettes. And today is the day I am happy and pleased to be able to bring to you some more gameplay footage from the eagerly anticipated title Super Street the game. 2 races in total, one's the opening tutorial, the second is going to be an ad hoc arcade style off the cuff race. Now, before we go into it, I need to say 2 thank yous. The first is for the guys over at Super Street for providing me early access with this PC test beta build. They actually gave it to myself as well as a couple of other YouTube friends last week. So we've had it for a little while now, just tinkering around with it, getting to grips with it and getting a better understanding of what the game's all about. But unfortunately, my version of the build that I downloaded developed a strange bug whereby the acceleration value was coded incorrectly. To cut a long story short, when I try to accelerate any car, it moves at the pace of a slug. Now, the frustrating thing is that this bug only kicked in when I started trying to capture my footage to create a video for you guys. Prior to that, when I was just messing around with the game outside of my recording environment, it was working fine. So that's frustrating. Fortunately, that didn't stop me from being able to capture customization videos in even more detail than what you've seen already. But that leads me on to my second thank you, which goes out to my homeboy LP Ripper, Lino, as the 2 races that you're about to see were provided to me by him. He captured it for me. He knew of my sad state of affairs, and by the power of Dropbox was able to come to the rescue and provide me with this footage that I can provide to you guys. Go over to his channel. He's nearly at 20,000 subscribers. Subscribe, hit the like button on whatever video he drops, and tell him that I sent you. Right then, so there you have it. That is a brief look at what you can be expecting when you get Super Street the game, if you get Super Street the game. Now, a couple of things that I want to talk about first and foremost is the physics. Now, the first car, which was part of the tutorial race, was a car which is modeled on sort of like an S2000/BMW Z4 or Z4 if you live in the UK. The first thing that I noticed when playing the game was the car was a lot more grippy, a lot more planted, a lot more sturdier, and a lot more predictable in terms of the way in which it moves, the way in which it reacts, compared to the cars that we saw in the trailer. Now, there are 2 factors here, one which is factual, I believe, and one that I'm going to use the power of my brain to guess intelligently. So firstly, Super Street the game is all about upgrading your car, okay? And what I noticed through playing the game and doing the customization is all of the parts that you put onto the car, for the most part, actually improve your performance. So I'm not just talking about the things that you put under the hood. I'm not just talking about what you do to your brakes and suspension. I'm talking about the fact that when you put on bumpers, spoilers, all those bits and pieces, what they actually do is they increase the car's responsiveness, how quick it can turn in, how light it is, how good it is under braking, how much grip it has, and various other parameters that we'll go through later on. A lot of the cars that we saw in the trailer were actually cars that were in their infancy, cars that were in their early stages of development. And when I say early stages of development, I'm not talking about games-based development, I'm talking about progression-wise within the game itself. The tutorial car that you saw in this video was actually fully spec'd up to its maximum potential, thus having more sturdier handling. And not only that, but the game also had a better sense of speed, because that was another one of the biggest complaints from the trailer, or the technical physics-based trailer they put out, I should say, that the car in question was slow and the whole game just felt a little bit sluggish. I still feel the sense of speed needs to be improved, but what I did notice was that the experience and the feeling definitely improves the faster your car becomes, which makes sense when you think about it. My second theory, quite simply, they may have actually just tweaked and improved the handling since that trailer dropped. Now, I do have a few issues and concerns here, and it's something that I will be sending an email to the developers about. The first is understeer. This video does not show you just how aggressive the understeer is in this game. Trying to turn that car in is almost like trying to drag a toddler away from an iPad playing Peppa Pig, and she's screaming absolute refusal. Now, I thought this was just me, but I spoke to Lino about it and he shared similar thoughts. They also need to do a bit of tweaking on the input value of the brake command, because I did find that at times it was really difficult to slow cars down even though I was braking very early on before the corner. But that's something that can be fixed very, very easily. That's just simple mathematics and simple coding, change a value, and that should be fixed. In terms of audio, I felt that this developmental build of the game was a mixed bag. There were areas of it that I liked, there were areas of it that need to be improved. In terms of what I liked the fact that when you start to upgrade your car, you can actually hear the car starting to change and evolve over time. The turbo becomes more apparent. You can hear clear differences between the different types of engine blocks. The inline 6 sounds very different to the V8, as it should do. The problem is that similar to other games, and there are other games that do this, so let's not just isolate Super Street, there seems to be a bit of copy and pasting going on. During the race, what I noticed was that it was quite hard to differentiate the difference in engine sounds being emitted from your car compared to the AI cars, and at times it sounded quite dreary, almost as if you've got 6 different Dyson vacuum cleaners all lined up and switched on at the exact same time. Sort of like that. Now, in terms of the actual damage model, there really wasn't much more for me to say. Really loved it, enjoyed it. I like just how breakable the cars are. I like the fact that it's not just your car that gets broken. The AI cars also suffer damage as they have their own collisions. And what I really enjoyed was the fact that those collisions don't just spawn out by themselves. I noticed that there was a car that was closing in on Lino that had suffered a collision earlier on, and you could actually see the damage on it as it was driving up next to him. Pretty damn good, pretty damn impressive. So that's basically my early thoughts on how the game plays in terms of its physics, handling, etc. There is one other thing I want to touch on in this video, and that's what I've been seeing around the internet, around Twitter, on various different videos about Super Street the game supposedly only having 8 cars. Now, a lot of people have got this totally misconstrued and just have failed to understand the terminology that has been put out by the developers themselves, or the publishers, or whoever does the marketing. It has 8 car models, okay? Important word there, models. Not cars, models. You see, with such a heavy emphasis on customization, the difference between Super Street the game and any other game that has preceded that is that you've got the ability to take one car model down a multitude of different design paths. Let me give you an example. I took one base car model and was able to turn it into a Skyline R34. I was then able to turn it into a Skyline R32. I then took another base model. I was able to turn it into an M Series BMW. I was then also able to turn it into a Mustang-ish type muscle car. Now, don't worry, because the proof of this is all coming over the next 24 to 48 hours, as I'm going to bombard you guys with the customizations of those cars so you can see with your own eyes. So, to catch all of those videos, as well as all the other content I've got planned, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button, and make sure your notifications are turned on. Once again, I want to say a huge thank you to the guys over at Super Street for giving me the opportunity to have this early build of the game, and a massive thank you to my homeboy LP for saving me on this one. If you want to carry on this conversation, drop your thoughts down in the comment section. I will be responding to as many as possible. Join the Discord group I've got, as I'm going to be in there talking about Super Street with all of you over the next few days as we see more and more released about the game. Next Super Street video is going to be dropping in a few hours, so I'll see you guys later on. Take it easy. Peace.